Hello. Me and my ideas, they don't always work out. And you know, when you're kind of awake at stupid o'clock in the morning with all these things going through your head, and you've just got to do something about it. I've been trying desperately over the last couple of days to print onto fabric, and it's not going well. And apparently it could be because I'm using an eco tank, and eco tanks don't really like fabric. So today was another try using a technique I watched Shabby Dabby Doodah used. Shabby Dabby Tina, the lovely Tina, and she used some sticker paper on the back of the fabric. But I still think this particular fabric, which is a thin calico, is particularly troublesome. I do have a couple of cotton sheets in the wash at the moment, which I'm gonna have another go at. I've also got freezer paper. Nothing seems to be working in this printer. I have wasted a lot of fabric and a lot of paper jams and all sorts of things. So there we go. We're going to keep trying, but I do want to do some more fabric printing. I've tried several things over the last couple of days, and what I'm going to do today, a lot of you may scream at me because I'm going to be actually using acrylic paint on my stamps. But let me explain. This is the second one I've done, and it's how I prefer it. I have tried using ink stamps and even stamping over and over again. It doesn't particularly come out very well. So I've picked just a couple of stamps, but I've used these already and they come out perfectly and they clean perfectly. So I'm quite happy with using this method. I've got this piece of fabric that my printer screwed up earlier. I've got a jelly plate and a roller. Obviously you can use makeup sponges if you don't have a jelly plate and a roller. And I've got my stamping platform. I'm happy to use my stamping platform. Now, got my magnets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line my stamp up first of all. I think I'm going to go this way to start with. I'm going to put my magnets in place around that. Now, one thing to mention when you're using fabric and paint is the paint will lift up the fabric. So you have to be really careful when you lift your platform up. Okay. Here I've got a tray with some damp tissue paper in. I've got my jelly print, my roller, my stamping platform, and I'm going to put on some black acrylic paint. I'm not going to put a ton on because we can always add more later. So I've got my stamp in place. I also am going to use a little bit of tape just at that edge, just to put that down, and I'm going to try this one first. I'm going to make sure I pick that stamp up, roll out a bit of paint, and just give this a good coat of paint. I have got some baby wipes at the ready because if I get it over the platform I will wipe that off before I stamp, not because I'm worried about my platform, but I don't want it on my fabric. Give that a good coat. I mean, if we're using, because I'm using the platform, I can probably stamp again, but not 100% sure. So I'm going to try my best to get a good stamp the first time. I'm going to hold that down. No, I do need to do that again, but that's fine. Like I said, we've used the platform, so we should have the opportunity to reprint. Okay, that's fine. I'm happy with that one. So now what I want to do is move my fabric. I'm going to turn it around. Just try and tape that in place a little bit. Now, obviously this has got paint on it, so we do have to be reasonably careful when we lay this down. Put my magnets on. I'll put one up there and one down here. Just remove, like, print that. Let's just give that a little bit more. Just okay, oh, that's fine. Good, that's good. So I'm going to get one more on this particular stamp. Tape it down first, lift this up, put that down, put my magnets in place. This Friday series is all about just having a play and just experimenting and not necessarily doing anything big as a project, just trying some things out. And I really have had a lot of fun playing with these inks. So what I'm going to do with that is, I'm just going to show you, bring my tray in. I'm going to give that a spritz with water. I know there's already water in here, and I'm just going to lay that down in my tray, and that will keep that moist until I can clean it properly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to choose another stamp. I'm going to go for this one, and I'm also going to put this one down, and I'm going to leave that gap there for a moment, and you'll see why shortly. Actually, I'm going to move that over. This particular stamp, this one here, I got from the lovely Wilma, and I can't tell you what make that is. And these particular ones are, they're Seth Apter by Paper Artsy stamps. You can't stamp them together because the Paper Artsy stamps are a lot thicker than the clear stamp, so I can't print them at the same time. Now these ones stamp really well, but if the fabric moves, the second print is never very successful, to be honest with you. I'm actually going to move that magnet and that one. Ooh. And these ones tend to bring up the fabric a little bit more when you lift up your platform. So although that's a little bit faded, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that piece. A little bit of tape. Let's go. Actually, I'm not going to use that one this time. I'm going to put this in here. Lovely. Now I'm done with this stamp, so I'm going to give it a wet and pop that into my little tray. And the last piece I'm going to do using the stamping platform is over here. I'm going to move this off slightly, put my magnets down, and this time put that there. I don't think you'll be able to see me paint this piece, but that's okay. You get the idea. Lovely. So this one's now finished. I'll give that a wet and pop that into my little... Right, now we just have a couple of little areas that are not covered. So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to use this stamp this time. It's a kind of have to hope for the best really, because I'm not going to be using the stamping platform, so I won't be able to stamp again. But what I want to do is try not to overlap. So I'm just going to hold that and push that down into the gap. That's fine. And it is actually a lot easier. This particular paper was backed because I'd put it through my printer. So it is actually quite easy to work on it when it's backed like that. That's that piece. And then I have a little gap along here. So what I'm going to do is just pop this scrap piece under there. Oops. There. There. I'm going to give my roller a clean, and then I'm going to put that, I'm just going to leave that in the baby wipe and just pop that into my cleaning tray. And then I'm just going to lift up some of this paint. Okay, so we now have our painted papers using the stamps. This is still kind of wet, so I'm not going to do the second part on that, but this is a smaller piece that I finished earlier. This is nice and dry. And what I've got is, this one I've used several times for paint, and as long as you wash it out pretty quickly, it's kind of fine. Now I'm going to put a little bit of paint down, just a tiny bit, and I'm going to grab a brush, and any brush will do. It's just to move the paint about. And I've got this stamp that I got from the lovely Kerry Fellows, but what I want to do is put some stenciling on, and I'll concentrate on the areas in between the stamps, but I'm not particularly worried if I actually want this to, you know, kind of just pull these together really. I'm going to take my brush, I'm using this plastic paper because it's perfect for this, pull the paint across there a little bit, put my dabber in, and then I'm just going to start putting some paint through this stencil. I'll just lift that up to have a little look. That's fine. Just going to move my stencil, and I'm just going to carry on stenciling. So I'll speed this up so you don't have to watch all of this. Okay, so that is my fabric right now. I do want to add a little bit more to this, so I'm just going to give this a little chance to dry, and then we'll be back to add some more colour. Okay, it's not completely dry, but it's reasonably dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some weathered wood, pop that down. Oh, actually, that's a mistake. That's not what I wanted to do. Let's try it though. Now we've got it, we'll use it. My paint's not completely dry, so what I wanted to do was I wanted to use an inking block, but we'll just use what we've got now. Just put that through a few times, and we know that we're going to be fine in terms of the paint. It's not going to run because it's acrylic. Let's do it the way I wanted to do it now. So I'm going to go back in with the weathered wood first of all, put this onto a block. I want more drips really. I'm going to spray it and let it run over my fabric. I can just put a little bit down. Okay, dry that off. I wanted to stick to inks really. I'm going to go for a little bit of bundled sage. The oxides will cover up some of that black paint. Let's just smooch a bit of that in. A bit of colour down here, a bit more over there. Loving that. That looks very cool. Right, now what else do I have? A little bit of rustic wilderness here. Let's just put some splatters on. And I think that is going to be it. Let's see if I can dry this a little bit. Okay, and that is my almost kind of finished fabric. I may still do some more to this. You could use any stamps as long as you clean them properly when you're done. But yeah, that would make a cute little cover of a notebook really. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. I just wanted to play, wanted to have a little go. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. Hope you found it useful and I will see you again really soon. Take care. Bye.